Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to today's Proverbs with Paul in the afternoon. Rather late, I'm afraid. Proverbs chapter 20, verse 8. A king who sits on the throne of justice disperses all evil with his eyes. The king who sits on the throne. The fact that the king is sitting means that he's ready to judge. He's sitting with one who is in authority. He's sitting there as king, and he's looking to exercise justice in the land. And the king is there in order to work out ways to resolve disputes. And a dispute is when people can't agree. And sometimes it gets so bad that kings go to war because they can't agree on what is right and what is wrong, what is good and what is bad. And many wars are even in existence today because people can't agree. But the king who rules and who reigns, he sits and he's able to exercise justice. But notice that he's able to disperse all evil. So it's amazing. Disperse all evil, which means that in a large area, he is able to move, to disperse, to shift, to exclude, to drive out all evil from the land. So the king is able to do that because he has authority. And the reality of God and his kingship, he has all authority. There is no one higher than God, and therefore God is able to exercise all authority in whatever situation he might find himself in. And when we act as representation of God's will and purposes, we too have been given such authority. So although we're not making the judgment as to right and wrong, once we understand what God's right and God's wrong is, we are then in a position to exercise that authority to instruct those individuals that this is the way of the Lord. Some people like to take that further and make people do what they say. But this king, he doesn't have to make people do what he knows is right. He says he disperses all evil with his eyes. And the eyes of righteousness impact and speak into the very essence of our lives. You know, when Peter was in the courtyard and Jesus looked across to Peter and he pursued him with his eyes until their eyes made contact. And at that point of contact, Peter came under an incredible conviction. And it says he left the courtyard and he wept bitterly. And that sense of basically overwhelmed by grief that he had made a dreadful mistake in disregarding what the Lord Jesus had said. But nevertheless, he disperses the evil with his eyes. Real authority isn't about how much power you have. It's this sense of rightness that really commands the respect. Thank you for joining me. Be blessed. Have a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow.